horse and a candy man. Like a freight train rolling, bringing truth bombs down the line. Promoting the Southland 1 week at a time. Promoting the Southland 1 week at a time. SCV chat starts now.
It is 7 o'clock on a Monday afternoon, so you know what time it is. It is time for your weekly episode of SCV Chat. Now, before we get started, please remember, the views and opinions expressed on this broadcast are not necessarily the views and opinions of the SCV, its GEC, nor Divisions, Brigade, Camps, or any other subsidiaries. How's everybody doing in Dixieland tonight? We got a great show for you. And, of course, I'm joined by our famous executive director of the SCV, Adam Southern. Adam, how you doing tonight?
I'm well. How are you, brother?
Oh, I can't complain. Been doing phone work all day, so excuse the attire and Ole Miss band T-shirt, even though I was never in the Ole Miss band. Had a good day in southern Mississippi for farming. I'll put it like that. But good to see everybody in the chat tonight. Good to see we have a lot of our regulars tuning in and everybody else tuning in. Please remember to share this episode tonight, everybody. This episode, of course, is our Hearth and Home episode where our executive director will give a update and talk about the museum and talk about everything they're doing up there. And I don't think I've ever been disappointed with his updates, so I cannot wait to get in tonight. Before I send it over to our executive director, we're going to go into one of our sponsors tonight and thank them for, of course, sponsoring the show. And, of course, I'm talking about Southern Flags and Quilts. Southern Flags and Quilts is a Southern company. You're not sending your money up north. You're not sending it overseas. You're not letting a Yankee, someone who doesn't care about our Southern heritage, make your flag. You're giving it to someone who lives in Alabama. And, again, some people say it's the heart of Dixie. I say Mississippi. Victor says Florida. And I believe everybody else thinks their state is the heart of Dixie. But she makes great quality flags. And again, here are some pictures of her work. She does an outstanding job on every flag she makes. Just look at this quality. Amazing, historically accurate flags. And of course, you can take our word that she makes great work because she helped design the SCV chat flag. So we want to thank her for sponsoring tonight's episode. And you can go support Southern Flags and Quilts in the link in the chat or scrolling across the screen. So we want to thank her one more time. And without further ado, we'll go ahead and jump into tonight's main event.
Oh, man. Getting to me early tonight, it seems like.
Oh, yeah. For once, we don't have a lot to talk about.
Oh, man. So I'm glad you talked about the heart of Dixie because I'm sure everybody knows Columbia, Tennessee is the heart of Dixie. Yeah. Proof in point, that's where the SCV decided to put its national general headquarters. So I don't think I need any more proof than that. We're glad to be the Hearth and Home of the Sons of Confederate Veterans at historic Elm Springs in the National Confederate Museum. And a lot going on up there. This weekend will be a big weekend for us. We have our General Executive Council meeting. SCV member, you're always welcome to attend the GEC meetings. And that meeting will be this Saturday at the museum. So if you're not doing anything, make the drive over to Columbia. The museum will be open. So you get to be able to see the museum, get to be able to sit in on some of the GEC meeting if you're an SCV member. And look forward to seeing you there. But nothing else, just come see our museum. There's a lot of cool stuff to see. I sent some pictures over. We got a lot of cool stuff that recently came into the museum. I'm just going to go ahead and hop into that. Find the pictures we have there. Oh, man. Start with one of the best. This is a life-size portrait of Sam Davis. And if you're not from Tennessee, you might not be as familiar with Sam Davis' story as us who live in Tennessee. But he was the boy hero of the Confederacy. He gave his life to protect the names of his friends and counterparts in the Coleman Scouts. And he said, if I had 1,000 lives to live, I'd give them all them to portray a friend. So he died. I don't even think he was 21 years of age when he was executed by the Yankees in Pulaski, Tennessee. They hanged him there, just to the west of the Giles County Courthouse. But he became a very prominent figure in Tennessee after the war. People honored him with a statue on the Tennessee Capitol grounds, and there was a this painting was done in 1927, and it was done by Cornelius Hankins, who was a prolific artist in that time period. He even did a portrait of Leonidas Polk as well. But this portrait originally was in the Sam Davis Hotel that was in downtown Nashville until they demolished the hotel in 1985. And then it was sent to the Sam Davis Memorial Association, and they recently loaned it to us. Commander-in-Chief Boshears and I drove over to pick it up, and when I say it's life size, it is huge. I believe it's 96 inches tall and about 4 feet or maybe 6 feet wide. It's a massive painting, and I think it's done very well. It shows the young man that Sam Davis was, and it captures his essence, I think, pretty well. But they sent it to us on loan. They're making some room for other Sam Davis artifacts. So that's a great place. If you've never gone and visited the Sam Davis home in Smyrna, Tennessee, I would go and visit them. He is buried there just outside the visitor center, which would be in the backyard of his home, where his parents built a beautiful place there. And I forget the little creek a river that's rolling by there, but it's a very picturesque place and great history. And they do a good job of showcasing his history and the Confederate history of that area. One thing I like in this picture that you put up is you can see the stained glass window. That's on the wall behind the portrait. You can see the reflection of the sunlight coming through that window. It's like a sundial in the back of our museum, and if you go in there, you can see the reflection come through and make a complete circle around the building throughout the day. And I know some people say that was done by design. I think it's a happy coincidence, but it's one of the cooler things about our museum, that beautiful stained glass window and the reflection that comes through daily, or at least on sunny days. What else we have in the hopper there? I forget what pictures we sent. Oh, this is a nice piece. This came in during our last GEC meeting at Elm Springs. Our compatriots from Missouri, Daryl Maples and Randy Kaiser, found this along the way, and it's just a UCV flag. We think this is a reunion flag that showcases or highlights the 1st Florida Infantry. And it has some of their battles that they were in painted on the flag. It has UCV painted on the flag as well. But it's a very beautiful piece that we've included in the museum. And if you look at it, it actually has holes on either side where they would have either tacked it to the wall or had 2 people holding up a stick with the flag on each side as they walked in parades and so forth. So it's a good example of a reunion style flag, and we're glad to have that in the museum.
I always love seeing new flags at the museum. I'm a big flag guy, so anytime y'all get a new flag, I just cannot wait to go look at it Saturday.
And we've got that one right next to the Florida Division, not Florida Division flag, but the Florida Confederate home flag. This was the flag that was in the old Confederate home, and Florida Division framed that and has it on loan at the museum. So those flags are side by side, and it just makes a good display.
Oh, I cannot doubt. I cannot wait to see it when I get up there.
And this might be a piece that you're familiar with. I think you and your dad brought this up last time you came to visit. This is a 1850s militia frock with tails, and it's a beautiful piece. And as the early militias were going into Confederate service, of course, they were dressed in everything that they had at that time. So I'm sure the officer of that militia wore this into Confederate service until he was able to find him a Confederate frock. And same thing with the sword that came up with it. Should be the next picture. And there it is, a beautiful 1850s presentation sword with the scabbard. And I'm telling you, it's beautiful. Has the mother of pearl handle there, and etchings on the blade, and the scabbard's just as beautiful as the sword. And this is also, we believe that's a Mississippi piece as well, don't we?
Oh, yes, sir, it is.
Yeah. So I'm not sure that it came with the frock, but it was definitely of that time period of the frock. So really cool piece that the Mississippi Division has brought up for our museum. So we all like to thank those compatriots for doing that. And because, as I said, these things probably saw some service in the Confederate Army as they were coming out of the militias and starting the Confederate Army.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I just, again, love seeing this stuff at the museum. And a lot of people in the chat are talking about flags and stuff, how they love it. You know, my father talked about how, and I might have forgotten this, he might have told me, but we had an ancestor fight with the 1st Florida. The Lone Ranger, Past Commander in Chief Chuck McMichael, says that you might be getting another great flag this Saturday.
Oh, yeah, it's something that I plan to talk about a little later, but we'll be getting some, we'll just go ahead and talk about it now. Everybody remembers Louisiana Division, and Chuck helped me remember the town where this came out of, but they opened the time capsule that came out of one of the Confederate monuments that had to be relocated, and inside were just pristine flags and artifacts that came out of this time capsule. And I'm just impressed that how they were able to seal that. And because so often when you open up time capsules today, water has gotten in. This wasn't the case with this time capsule. The stuff that came out of it was just pristine. That's Shreveport, Louisiana. Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. But they will be bringing up those items that were in the time capsule for the museum to put on display. So they'll be doing that as part of the GEC meeting this Saturday, and then we'll have them on display in the museum after that. So it'll be another good reason to come up to the museum this weekend if you're able. So really looking forward to that.
Yeah, a lot of great things are happening this weekend. Again, I'm with our executive director. If you can get up there, I would highly recommend it. We do have a question from our Chief of Heritage Operations, Ron Kennedy. He asked, can we purchase tickets to give to friends who may be traveling to Nashville or our elected officials?
Yes, you can. We actually have some paper music tickets that you can order in advance, or you can say, hey, give me 10 museum tickets. So when you're out on the road, you can pass them out to people or elected officials. And I think that's a great way. And I think Mr. Kennedy actually came up with that idea, and I liked it so much that I did it. But we have paper tickets for both the museum and the house that you can buy and pass out.
Awesome. Do you want to go into the next pictures, or do you got anything else on your mind with the time capsule or anything else?
Let's just go into the last picture there.
Okay.
This is a silver tray, and you might be thinking, wow, silver tray, big deal. But this silver tray was brought to us by a member of Camp 29 in Columbia, Tennessee this past week. So this is a fresh item to our museum. And when he was in college, he became friends with a man named Kevin Bradley. And if you followed the Forrest case very closely, Kevin Bradley was one of General Nathan Bedford Forrest's great-grandsons. So when this member of Camp 29 was in college, I believe Kevin Bradley was his roommate, and they got to talking about the Civil War. And Mr. Bradley said, well, you know, General Forrest was my grandfather. And of course, he was like, yeah, right. He's not your grandfather. Well, Kevin Bradley took this man home and started showing him all the Forrest artifacts that he had on display in his house, including original Forrest family silver. And they became such good friends over the years that Mr. Bradley gave him this silver tray. And if you look at the engravings on the tray, see the first picture we have, right in the center is her monogram. This belonged to Mary Forrest, who of course married a Bradley. So you see Mary Forrest Bradley there in the center. That's her monogram, MFB. And in later years, she became president of the General Forest UDC camp, the camp that bore his name. So when she retired or stepped down as president of that chapter, the chapter presented her with this silver tray. And this is the tray that Kevin Bradley gave our Columbia, Tennessee SCV member, and he gave it to the museum this past weekend. So he said this might be something that might even put a smile on Adam Southern's face, and boy, howdy did it.
I think it puts a smile on all our faces.
But yeah, so we're glad to have that, and that is in the museum as well. Will be put in the museum by this weekend. So we're glad to be the final resting place of General and Miss Mary Montgomery Forrest, and any kind of forest artifacts that we can add to our collection, we love to have them. So I think we should be the forest place, if not us, maybe the birthplace in Chapel Hill, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got an event coming up there this weekend as well. The Tennessee Division is having a Confederate flag retirement ceremony over at the Forest Boyhood Home. I hate that I'm not going to be able to get over there because I'll be in the GEC meeting all day. But if you have Confederate flags that need to be retired, they will do so in the official and proper way. And that's a great ceremony if you've never been to one. So I applaud the Tennessee Division for doing that this weekend. And if you're able and go to a museum, you can go check that out as well as you're out and about.
For sure. Elliot says he was already excited about coming up to Columbia, Tennessee this weekend. I missed what was going on this weekend. I'm guessing he's talking about the GEC meeting and the museum being open. And he says that he asked if there's any birthday type tours. He'd love to see everything.
Well, sometimes if you can contact us enough in advance, I'd be glad to give you a private tour of the house and the museum on the weekends. I know, especially if your camp wants to do something like this. We have a great conference room at Elm Springs at your camp. If they want to travel and come to Elm Springs, they can rent this room out and have their meeting there in the conference room and have a private tour of the house and the museum. So, it'd be something to think about. If your camp wants to hit the road, come see us.
Okay, now I'm a little jealous, but you have fun, Elliot. Let's see here.
Any more questions from the chat?
No. Confederate Flag Day is also at Beauvoir on this Saturday. I think this weekend is Confederate Flag Day.
The National Confederate Flag Day.
So make sure if you can go up and support any of these events, please do. Because, again, the museum is great. Of course, then you got Tennessee at Forrest's Boyhood Home. And then you got in Mississippi, Beauvoir, Jefferson Davis's last home. So there's a lot of great things going on this weekend. So make sure you try to attend whatever you can. I know I'm definitely going to be trying to run around Tennessee, it sounds like, this weekend. So that's going to be joyful.
Well, right now it's about 76. It's nice, but I think it's going to change by this weekend, looking at rain and maybe some colder temperatures. But, hey, Tennessee, it's going to change from 1 minute to the next. You never know what's going to happen.
Something always drastic happens when I come up and visit.
You think Mississippi would bring warmer weather, but every time you come, it gets cold.
It's the good Lord giving us a break from our heat.
Well, one of the programs that we have at Elm Springs and the National Confederate Museum is the Keep It Flying program. That's our flag sponsorship, where you can pay to sponsor the flag that's flying over our property. It's a beautiful 6x10 flag, embroidered, beautiful stitched flags, stars on the flag, and as I said, 6 foot by 10 foot. It's huge. We have done very well with this program. So right now, December of 2024 is the next available time. So if you would like to have your name on that December 2024, send your $200 sponsorship in, and when the time comes, we'll send you your flag. So it's has done very well. So we're looking at going into 2025 with names. But very pleased with how that project has taken root, and people seem to be very excited about doing that and getting their name on the list, and they enjoy getting their flag when it comes in the mail. Also at headquarters, we talked about us being the final resting place of General and Mrs. Forrest. We still have the monument that we have to re-erect. We have the Forrest equestrian statue and the entire plaza that has to be reconstructed there on the property. And that's going to take a lot of money. We have a fund right now with over $60,000 in it. So we're having an incentive right now called Forrest Last Ride, and we're asking for donations so we can put that monument back up, and it will be as it was in Memphis. His grave will be underneath that plaza with the equestrian statue over the top of it. And if you ever got to see that in Memphis, it was magnificent, and it will be just as magnificent, if not more, on our property at Elm Springs with the house and the museum in the background, and General Forrest looking towards the east at his boyhood home in Chapel Hill, Tennessee. It's really going to be special. So Forrest Last Ride, if you want to go to our donations page, you can do online donations through PayPal or your credit card, or you can send in checks to our headquarters, P.O. Box 59, Columbia, Tennessee.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're putting it up how Forrest's sons wanted it to be put up, correct?
Correct, yeah. So this is we've talked to his descendants and his grandsons that have been working with us. This is with the family's wishes. They'd like to see it go back as it was in Memphis. So we're working with them to do that. And as I said, to do that, we'll need all the help we can get. So if you'd like to support Forrest Last Ride, please do so.
Victor says this year's silent auction tumbler is going to go to the Forrest Monument, but he wanted to make sure you know that I think you're one of the few that knows the themes of the tumbler this year. He says it must remain classified.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing it myself. I'm excited about what I heard about it, but getting to see it in person is always special, and look forward to taking that to reunion. And I know it's going to raise some good money for the last ride.
Oh, for sure. And again, you know, I know a lot of people were asking, at least on the chat page. I don't know if you got this. You probably did. But you know, a lot of people were asking, didn't we just raise money for Forrest? And I think some people kind of got things confused. So the money we raised was for Forrest's reinterment.
Correct.
Put him down with respect and honors that we know this great general and his wife deserved. And this is putting back up his monument to him. And I think I'll quote our last Commander-in-Chief, Larry McClooney. The funeral was a respected, solace occasion where we all mourned and, you know, showed respect to General Forrest. And this is kind of a celebration of his life that this is going up to. So right. If you weren't at the reinterment, first off, it was a phenomenal event. I will always remember for the rest of my life. And I will always remember for the rest of my life how that my family and I helped support the funeral and the reinterment. So if you can support it, please do in any way you can. Either start a fundraiser at your camp level, or you yourself start a fundraiser. Donate what you can, because here at SCV Chat, we're coming up with ideas right now for a fundraiser for it. And any way anybody could help with this will be, of course, greatly appreciated by our lovely staff at HQ. Absolutely.
Not just the staff, but the executive council and, you know, all members we're all invested in this. This just isn't Adams headquarters and isn't the GEC's headquarters. This is the SCV's headquarters. So as a member, you should be proud of it. This should be your Hearth and Home. When you think of the SCV, you think of Elm Springs, think Hearth and Home. This is our home, and we want to make sure that you goes up and is done properly and is in accordance with the family wishes, but also ties in properly with its surroundings, the house and the museum and the little family cemetery that's already there. So we want to make sure all that ties in nicely together, and it will. And looking forward to the date that goes back up.
Me too. Sorry to cut you off, Adam, but before you move on to your next topic, Elliot asks, what time is the GEC meeting beginning this Saturday?
That's a good question. I have not asked Commander-in-Chief Boshiers that. It will definitely be probably 8:30 or 9, no later than 9 o'clock. And that date or that time may be out there, but I know I'll be up there anyway. So whenever they're ready to start meeting, I'll be there. I would say anytime between 8 and 9 o'clock. It won't start any later than 9.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. And of course, I know this has been discussed on the chat already, but we're getting ready to enter Arlington lawsuit or place our own lawsuit against Arlington Cemetery and the federal government to protect the monument, the Confederate monument there in Arlington National Cemetery. And, this is one of those things. Cemeteries were supposed to be the place that were never bothered. People say, put them in the cemetery, put them in a museum. Well, we see how that works. They're coming after monuments in museums, and now they're coming after monuments in national cemeteries. So there's no place safe. And this case is one I think we'd have to dig our heels in, put the line in the sand, and make sure we defend it to our utmost potential. And I know I seem like I'm begging for money all the time, and I guess I am, but lawsuits are expensive. And for this case to be successful and for us to have a chance in court, the SCV is going to need money. So if you'd like to do that, that website is still scrolling at the bottom of the page, scv.org/PayPal-donations. That will take you to all the different funds that you can donate to, and one of those being the Heritage Defense Fund. That's one of our most important funds because that's the fund that helps us whenever the SCV has to enter into litigation to protect our monuments. And as I said, this is probably one of the most important cases we've seen come in recent years. And this could define what happens to future monuments and cemeteries across the South, across the nation. So we need to make sure this one's protected. So if you'd like to donate online, or you can send those checks into P.O. Box 59, Columbia, Tennessee. And just on the memo of your check, be sure to mention that it's for Heritage Defense or for the Arlington case. Or if you're donating to the Forest Plaza, say Forest, and we'll know where your donation goes. Please do not send us cash. We love cash. Yes, and donate what you can. $5 here, $1 there, all that adds up. You don't have to donate $100 to make a difference. Donate what you can. And but like I said, don't send us cash. We had a compatriot say, I sent you $100 in the mail and I never got a thank you. Well, we're sorry, sir, we didn't get it. And the way our post office runs, and we're doing good to get probably 75% of our mail. So unfortunately, this gentleman's $100 donation is yet to be received. If there was a check, that could have been stopped. We could have stopped payment on the check, and but $100 is now lost. So please don't send us cash. That's the only thing for your safety and ours. Don't send cash, but checks and online donations, send all you can. And let's see. I think that's about all I had to say about that. We do have some Saturdays at the museum. As we've been saying, this is our open Saturday, March 4th. So hope you'll be able to come and see the museum. We're trying to have the museum open at least one Saturday a month. Unfortunately, with budget constraints, we're not able to have it open every Saturday. We just don't have the staff to do that. But figured one Saturday a month we can do that. And March 4th is that date, April 15th, May 6th, and June 3rd. So those are just some of the upcoming open Saturdays that we have. In July, we're going to have something called the Rebel Rouser Cruise In, the car show there on the property, and that will be the open Saturday that coincides with the car show. So come see some cool cars. Last year we had a General Lee there and several other great classics, and we're able to have the museum doors open for people to see not only the cars but the museum. And in August, we're planning something called a night at the museum, where as you come to the museum, our artifacts come to life. And some of the people who are featured in the display cases might come alive and talk to you. So come see us at night at the museum. That'll be $10 per person on August 19th. So just a couple of events we have coming down the pike. Go ahead and write those on your schedule books. July 29th for the cruise in, and August 19th for the night at the museum.
Definitely go support these events, people. And again, if you are unable to write it down at your current location, you can go after the show. We have reposted the dates that the museum will be open on Saturdays. They do a lot of hard work to get this open for us on Saturdays, so please support them when we can, people. Our staff at HQ work tirelessly for us. I helped out just a couple days and I was tired, and I don't know how Adam and the rest of our wonderful staff does it for us all the time. So when they do something like this for us, when they're adding more work to themselves, please go support them, because they do an outstanding job up there.
Thank you, Moose. And we're very blessed with a good staff at HQ. I will say that.
Y'all, yeah, great staff.
I don't know if you have a scheduled break, but if you want to do one of those and give people a chance to ask some questions, we'll do that after the break.
That sounds good to me. Speaking of which, it is about time for another Pop-Tart break. So let me get everything geared up on my side. And yeah, people, ask some questions about the museum. We have a perfect chance here that, my favorite saying is, if we can't answer it now, we'll answer it later. So let me get everything tuned up real quick for our Pop-Tart break. And we'll get into it. Let me save that. All right. So tonight's Pop-Tart break is sponsored by the Kennedy Twins' new book, Jefferson Davis and the High Road to Emancipation and Constitutional Government. The High Road to Emancipation and Constitutional Government is about Jefferson Davis, who was a leader of the High Road to Emancipation. He looked for a day in which slaves should be prepared to live and participate in society. He did more than advocate for this high road to emancipation. He practiced his beliefs in the ultimate emancipation of Southern slaves. Many of his former slaves left for prosperity, and their testimony about their former master, who prepared them for freedom and able to be a self-sustaining member of society. Jefferson Davis's High Road to Emancipation and Constitutional Government is available at www.kennedytwins.com, link in the chat below, and on most online bookstores. We want to thank the Kennedy Twins for sponsoring this Pop-Tart break with their new book, Jefferson Davis, High Road to Emancipation and Constitutional Government. We will be definitely doing a book review on that soon as I can corner the Kennedy Twins, and as soon as I can either corner myself some money or look at my father with puppy dog eyes and ask very nicely for this book. So again, please support them at www.kennedytwins.com, and we'll be right back after this Pop-Tart break.
I've always been proud of my Confederate ancestry, but I never pursued becoming a member of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. It all changed in 2017 when I saw New Orleans take down their Confederate statues. Those monuments come down really lit a fire inside of me. And came to the conclusion I needed to join the Sons of Confederate Veterans. It's a domino effect. We give in on this, it's just a matter of time before they start taking down Thomas Jefferson and George Washington. We need to draw the line in the sand right now. These are our Confederate monuments, these are our Southern heroes, and you're not going to take them down. Our museum is going to be funded 100% by the Sons of Confederate Veterans. The history, the narrative that we present will be the narrative that we write, so it will be our story, our museum. Right now, if we do not protect our heritage and present it as it truly was, it's going to be lost forever. We're going to tell the true story here. I'm Adam Southern, and I'm a proud descendant of Private Alfred D. Southern, a Confederate veteran.
Again, we want to thank the Kennedy twins for sponsoring tonight's Pop Talk break with their new book, Jefferson Davis, The High Road to Emancipation and Constitutional Government, available at www.kennedytwins.com and most online bookstores. So I always love playing that one, mainly because when I get you on the show, I can play it, and you can't say anything for the first 2 minutes of it. I always love, of course, seeing how far the museum has come and seeing your face of just utter shock every time I play it without telling you I'm going to play it.
That seemed like many moons ago. I guess it was. Definitely a different museum, different Elm Springs than was recorded that day. We've all come a long ways. Hopefully, I've come a long way myself. But yeah, those were good videos done by our then Lieutenant Commander in Chief Larry McClooney, and they've gotten several thousand views on social media and on YouTube, and they're still bringing in people today, people that see those videos. So great work to Commander McClooney on that.
Mm-hmm.
But had a great weekend. This past weekend, I had the honor of going down to Tampa, Florida, for the Stephen D. Lee Institute, and the Kennedy twins were there. They were selling copies of their books, and all proceeds of their book this past weekend and everything that they sold in Tampa, they're donating to the National Confederate Museum. So I'd like to thank the Kennedy twins for that, their generosity and hard work, and they can really make some speeches and sell some books. Those guys are something else. They can definitely fire up a room. And they did so down there in Florida, and it was just really a good weekend to be with a lot of our compatriots from across the United States, and a lot of Tennesseans were there, so Tennessee was well represented. Good weekend, I think.
Well, that's awesome to hear. I'm jealous that I wasn't able to go this year, but can't make every year, of course. But I can't wait to hear more about it. Real quick, we do have one question in the chat. I believe we got a new employee at the museum, or a promotion.
Yeah, Jill McDermott is now the sales manager at Elm Springs. And we also have 2 part-time employees that are working in the gift shop. We have Patty and we have Dawn. So if you haven't been to the gift shop in a while, you'll see some new friendly faces whenever you come in. They might be new to you at first, but you'll leave as friends. They're great ladies, and glad to have them as part of the crew. And of course, Jill was a promotion. She was working in the gift shop when Matt retired, and she took Matt Singleton's position as sales manager. So,
Go Candy Man.
The Candy Man, yeah.
Of course, always good to see new people come in, and of course to see people get promotions, because again, that crew up there, y'all, they do so much for us, and I can't thank y'all enough for all the hard work y'all put into this organization day in and day out. Because I know sometimes you guys get some unpleasant phone calls from members, and sometimes y'all get some very pleasant phone calls from members. So I know how much y'all have to put up with stuff. I just heard a phone conversation on speaker, and I was like,
Oh, it's usually the non-members that aren't so friendly. Those are the ones that call with the death threats, and those aren't fun, but they happen, unfortunately. But we're all up there because we love what we're doing and we believe in the cause. So definitely, like you said, there's a good group up there, and we're glad to have them. And it's always good when you can hire from within your organization to promote people, and a lot of good things are coming. The gift shop looks a lot different. If you haven't been there in a while, it looks nice, and we've got new items in the store. Some things that I think everybody will like. And one thing that I really like, and I think Matt might have ordered these before he left, but they're SCV wallets. They have our logo on them. There's a nice bifold, and then there's a little bit of a taller bifold as well if you carry a checkbook around with you, or it fits good inside of a suit pocket. So those are two really nice items that we're adding to the collection, and they're nice. I'm saving up for my next paycheck to buy me one. So.
Oh, I cannot wait. Yeah, I always go up there and I spend money because every time I come up there, someone shows me around. Yeah, we didn't have this last time, and I'm like, oh gosh, that looks awesome.
And yeah, definitely looking at some. We've got a new Elm Springs logo, and it's on a few things right now, but we're looking to have some shirts made with the new Elm Springs logo, and just having people think outside the box on different things to, having like when having I hate to say it, but having a woman in charge of sales, she thinks about things that I don't think about.
Yeah.
And a lot of good ideas. So looking at bringing some new items, some new merchandise that Jill's come up with, and she's doing a tremendous job for us. And I think membership will be able to see some of those things in the veteran whenever she puts the advertisements in the back. So look for new items and support our SCV store.
Please do, because we got some awesome stuff. Again, every time I go up there, I spend more money than I want to admit in the gift shop. It's always on. It's like some things like I've rebought just because I didn't get something like a book from the gift shop. I'd go and rebuy it from the gift shop, not even thinking about it until after I got home, and I'm looking at 2 copies of Lee the last year. So I'm like, I'll take nabbit. But it's always good to support the store. They always have some great stuff in there. So again, if you can, also check out the shop online or next time you are in Tennessee, because again, you won't be disappointed. Let's see here. Our historian-in-chief, Forrest S. Dawes, said that he loved the way the new Elm Springs logos turned out, and he can't wait to see them on T-shirts.
Thank you.
Now, is it the same logo you showed me a while ago?
It's the one that's on the flip side of the challenge coin I gave you. Yeah.
I was just making sure before I put my foot in my mouth. I can't wait for everybody to see it. We'll hopefully have some pictures for you soon on it. It's a wonderful logo. I absolutely love it. It's a beautiful logo for Elm Springs, and a much-deserved beautiful logo for Elm Springs because it's a beautiful property, beautiful house. Every time I go up there, I just love looking at it. It's just beautiful. And people might be like, you just love looking at it. It's just one of those houses that you'll sit there and you'll be like, it just looks good. And this is coming from someone that lives in southern Mississippi, and a lot of people just live in very simple log cabins. We redneck here, and so seeing something like that, it always just brightens up my day. And again, I have to corner y'all up every time we get up there. I'm busy or doing something. I have yet to have an actual tour of Elm Springs. I just go walking in its halls aimlessly.
I think if y'all will help Kayla move some furniture this weekend, she'll be glad to give you a tour.
We'll definitely help with moving the furniture.
All right, good deal.
Oh gosh!
You might want to ask what you're moving before you agree to it, but hey, you've already agreed now. So
no, that's the historian-in-chief. He's got this. I'll go work on the computers. I'm the new generation. All I know is computers. I can't lift things. Remember?
I understand. Yeah.
So that's all on our historian-in-chief. our chief of heritage operations asked, are we set up for putting QR codes at special locations on the museum's timeline? The Kennedy twins are bringing a video for donation of the original copy of Notes on the History of Slavery in Massachusetts.
Hey, we're ready whenever y'all are. Y'all tell me what you want put out, and I can generate the QR codes, and Mr. Jimmy Hill can have them printed, and we're ready to go.
I can't wait to see the QR codes. Michael C. Hardy said there are a lot of fine houses in Mississippi. Yeah, I kind of put my foot in my mouth anyway, didn't I, Mr. Hardy?
Yeah, Mississippi's beautiful. We love traveling and seeing the homes of Mississippi. I look forward to seeing Stephen D. Lee's home. I haven't been there before. I think Kayla and I are going to try to see that next time. We're speaking in Florence, Mississippi coming up, so I always try to take a vacation day around whenever I travel and go see something that's nearby. So
when are you speaking in Mississippi? I'm a little hurt that you haven't told me about this.
Well, the Rankin Grays asked me to be their speaker one night, and I think they meet on Saturday afternoon, so I'm going to go speak to them in Florence, Mississippi, and talk about the museum.
I'll definitely have to see if I can come up with that one. Always love these things, hearing about the museum. And again, it's good to take pride in this museum, people, because it's going to be how we take back the narrative. Trust us.
Definitely,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say it's the SCV's museum. It's 100% our narrative, our story. So we're not taking federal dollars for the museum, and nobody can tell us what we need to say. We're not going to PC our museum. We're going to tell the true history. So that's important. It's important to have a place like that.
Yeah. Today's world is becoming increasingly rare.
Yes. Yeah. I was looking forward to being in Florence, Mississippi in April. I think I'm going to see our compatriots in Missouri in March. I'll be there for their division reunion coming up. So looking forward to being with them. And Missouri, they're good to me up there. I like going up to Missouri and being with those folks. And even though I think the Rankin Grays, isn't that Connor's camp?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I might get to see him that night. So that'll be a plus to going down there. And speaking of Mississippi, might get to see GCB. So
a rare sighting for the poor working.
Rare sighting, that's right.
During the early months of the year, bless his heart, he it's full swing for work for him. So I always love messing with him when I have the chance. I call him the working man now because he disappears for a couple months, bless his heart, because he's fully focused on work. So every now and then I'll mess with him and I'll send a message. You hosting chat tonight, right? I'm not going to be on. I'll get a response about 10 minutes for the show. You better be lying.
Oh man, I saw where he got a nice cowboy hat, so I had that molded to his head there in Mississippi, I guess. I told him he looked a little bit like Festus, but
I called him. He wore a cowboy hat sometime this winter when we were going to an event. It was in November. It was at Friendship Cemetery, their monument rededication. You know, I get there, I'm freezing cold. I don't have a suit jacket. You know, all my jackets are farm jackets, so they all look out of place. And the only thick jacket I have is a Western brown style jacket, so I can't wear it with a black suit. And so, you know, I'm just toughing it out. You know, hair's going everywhere. You know, my poor father is freezing to death as well. And we get over there, and there is the Mississippi Division commander in this big cowboy hat, dressed to the T, looking nice. And I just go, and again, you know, Connor had been busy with work, and, you know, October's another busy month for him at his job. And I go up to him, hadn't talked to him in months. And I was like, you look like Boss Hog. And I automatically got told I would be put up on charges if I ever said that again. Speaking of the Mississippi Division, jokingly.
Oh, man. You know, I quit wearing cowboy hats a long time ago. Somebody told me I looked like Hoss Cartwright, so that was the end of me and cowboy hats.
I just put them back into my repertoire. I got this lovely gray cowboy hat this year at the Dixie National, and I was like, yeah, you know what? It was expensive enough where it looks nice, but not so expensive that you're only going to break it out on rare occasions, if you know what I mean. And so I was like, yeah, I'm going to start wearing this every now and then. I wore it to my camp's fundraiser this weekend. And I was like, I really pulled this off. And I can't remember. I think Connor texted me and he's like, please tell me you're not going to start wearing a cowboy hat as soon as I have. I'm like, oh yeah, we're going to be cowboys when we go to the Mississippi Reunion this year.
Big and Little Enos Burdette.
Oh yeah, Big Enos and Little Enos. That's my style of choice at Connor's last reunion as Mississippi Division Commander. I'm gonna make sure I send him out on style.
That's right.
And the funny thing is he's already told me he's going to be wearing a cowboy hat, or he thinks he will be at the division awards ceremony. I'm the division awards chairman, so I told him, okay, then I get to wear one because me and you both have to stand by each other for about an hour and a half, and that will be just comedy gold in the evening.
Yeah.
So I hope I get a picture of that. I really hope I do. You'll make my year. I will break. It'll be the next picture I put in your office. Let me put it like.
All right, good.
I don't think you like the last picture I put in your office.
It'd have to be better than the last one you did.
The last one is going to be hard to top. It was from our May 4th episode. If people remember that, I was a Tauntaun and Adam was Han Solo. And he hadn't seen that picture in about a year. And
I'd forgotten all about that.
I scrolled through my phone endlessly, and I finally found it, and I brought it. And Adam, you were on vacation last time I went up there. And so Adam didn't see it. I had it up there the whole time. And then I remember you walking into your office. It was when when I got my life membership. And I just remember you guys were all, I didn't know I was about to get it and stuff like that. And I remember you running down to your office, and I just remember hearing, can we move the ceremony? We'll just not do it anymore. My father says we need to see that picture of Carl and Jason again from the Smokey and the Bandit episode.
Oh, that was a good one.
Oh, I made Carl Big Enos and our commander-in-chief. Please note, this was before he was commander-in-chief, so I'm good. I am not in trouble here. This is right before the election we did that episode, and there's Jason as Little Enos. And he was more mad that I couldn't find a picture of him with a cowboy hat. And I was like, Jason, I edited this picture together within 5 minutes before us going live on the air. I was like, I didn't have time to find a picture of you with a cowboy hat. And he still brings it up to this day that I've not given him a cowboy hat. And so when he gets out of office, I want him to know the first thing I do when he is past commander-in-chief is fix that picture and give him a hat. SCV chat, everybody.
Yep.
Is there anything else you would like to talk about on the museum, Adam?
No, just come see us. As I said, we've got 1 weekend a month we'll be open. And as I said, if you're wanting to bring a camp to us, so just call us in advance. We'll try to work something out where we can open on Saturdays if you're bringing a group, and we can do that. And we want everybody to have a chance to see the museum. But come see us. We're Monday through Friday. We're open 9 to 4, and select Saturdays throughout the month or throughout the year, rather. Visit us on our Facebook pages. We have Historic Elm Springs and the National Confederate Museum, both separate pages that you can find online. You can find our website, visit elmsprings.com and the National Confederate Museum.com. And, of course, scv.org. You can find information about both sites on that website as well. We have a lot of different funds that you can donate to. If you go to scv.org and click the donation button, You can find different funds to donate to, including the Forest Last Ride that we talked about earlier, and the Heritage Defense Fund that will help with Arlington National Cemetery. So be sure to check those out. We have the Keep It Flying program. Send in money if you'd like to sponsor the flag that's flying over the museum. And you can also be a friend of Elm Springs and a friend of the National Confederate Museum. And both of those forms are online. You can find them on scv.org. And as I say, just come see us. And I always watch our friends here at SCV chat, and they're kind enough to give the museum in Elm Springs one night a month. And I enjoy coming on and spending time with the moose.
Well, most people don't know this, but Adam is part of kind of the founding members. You were part of the first group of episodes.
Right.
So we're more than happy, and we are the ones receiving the honors, being able to have you come on and talk about the museum and give an update. You know, I tell people it's a blessing to do this, what I'm doing right now, being a host on SCV Chat. It's a blessing because, again, you know, I have people come on and give their time to talk about stuff like this. So again, no, thank you for everything you do, brother. And of course, the majority of the things we talked about tonight, you can find pictures, links on the SCV Chat Facebook page after the show. The dates that the museum will be open: Forest's Last Ride, Friends of the SCV and Friends of the Museum and Elm Springs. Links are in the chat and on our Facebook page. I don't think I have a link for the flag program. I'll talk to Adam after the show, and we'll make sure we get a new link for that.
I think it's under the forms and documents on our website. If you go to scv.org, I believe it's there. If not, just let me know, and I'll make sure it's put up there. Excuse me, converting back to my redneck vernacular here, but I'll make sure it's put up. And you also mentioned Friends of the SCV. That's actually a thing. Of course, most people that are camp adjutants like the Moose is know about Friends of SCV. So if you have people that you just can't find an ancestor for, but they want to join the SCV, they can be a friend of the SCV. They don't have any voting rights as a member, but it's still a membership option for them where they can be involved and be a part of your camp. And so that option's out there. If you ever find somebody that you just can't find an ancestor for, we can make them a friend of the SCV. And that's something that I don't think we take advantage of quite enough. So just know that option's out there, and just try to find us some new members too.
Yeah, please go out and recruit people. Make sure that you, of course, send all this information to the museum when you recruit somebody. Sometimes paperwork falls through the crack, but try your best to keep headquarters informed on everything you do as a camp. Of course, you have documents and all for that. And, of course, the SCV website, which, of course, is scrolling at the bottom of your screen. Yeah. Adam says he's got an idea involving the flag program. He wants someone to remind him to bring it up Saturday.
Okay.
I hope Adam reminds you, because I'm absolutely awful at reminding people to do stuff.
Who said this?
Carl.
Carl, okay. I'll try to remember.
My father says he wanted to give a big thank you to Adam Southern and all the employees at SCV headquarters for their hard work and dedication to us all, because it's a fun job, people. They do a whole lot of work for us, and sometimes, you know, they go unthanked. And I personally, every episode, try to remind myself to give y'all a thank you, because, again, y'all do so much for us, and sometimes y'all don't get any praise for that, and that's a darn shame.
Well, thank you, Forrest. Thank you, Moose. I appreciate that very much.
And a lot of other people are telling y'all are doing a fine job. We got one more thing we can talk about.
Okay.
The Lone Ranger, Chuck McMichael, just brought up something to my attention I don't think me and you've talked about for a while, actually, is the bricks and paver programs.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. And that's something that I thought would just take off like wildfire, and really we haven't had that many people send in bricks or pavers. So that's out there. walkways of remembrance. You have the paver option or the brick option. I think a paver is 8 inches by 8 inches. I hope that's correct. And
you're right.
Okay. And of course, brick's a little bit smaller than that, but you can do 6 lines of text on the paver and 3 lines of text on the brick. And it's just a great way to memorialize your ancestor, or if you want to honor your camp, or you can do that. And then I noticed he put the benches up there, $1,800. You can purchase a memorial bench to be placed on our property. And I think all the places around Jefferson Davis and that monument have been sold. So we're working on finding other places around the property, which there's an abundance of places around the property where we can put benches. We have a great big sidewalk that goes from the side of the museum where Davis is to where the new Lee statue is. And then we have the sidewalk that leads and continues on to Elm Springs. And then we'll also have sidewalks eventually with the pavers and bricks take off that will go to the family cemetery, the Looney Family Cemetery, and the New Forest Equestrian statue. So, but Commander in Chief made a very good point about that. A lot of heavy construction and equipment will have to be taking place to put that plaza back as it was in Memphis. So it's probably not a good idea for us to start laying brick right there, right now, if we're just going to run over them with machinery. So that might be put on hold for a little bit, and we'll find another place to start the walkways of remembrance. So, but send your money in for that. And of course, we're working on getting those that have already been ordered engraved and sent here to the Elm Springs, and we can decide on where to start that sidewalk.
I can't wait. And, I talked about this a long time ago, but hopefully one day SCV Chat will sponsor a bench. Here's the hoping.
Yeah.
But someone asked if I could post the Friends of the SCV link in the chat. I've posted that along with the Friends of the Museum and the Friends of Elm Springs application. And Miss Linda, I wanted to show this off. She joined as a friend of the SCV to support her camp 1387. So thank you for that. Again, that's a great way to help if you don't have a Confederate ancestor or you are not a male descendant. And of course, there's many other organizations to join in as well. But again, we thank y'all for throwing your support behind us. And we make sure to give it our all in defending the Confederate soldiers' good name. I know the SCV will always do a great job in doing that. And I hope I can always stay in the fight. Knock on wood. But again, make sure you share all this information out. Make sure you share tonight's episode. And make sure you tune in this Thursday for Commander's Comments. We will have our Chief of Heritage Operations, Ron Kendi, and our Commander-in-Chief, Jason Boshears, on to give an update on the national level. So I can't wait to see that. That will be, again, Thursday at 7 p.m. Confederate Standard Time, same Confederate channel. Thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Make sure, again, to share this episode, and I'll see you Thursday. Do you have anything else you want to say, Adam?
No. Thanks for watching.
About as best as it gets, folks. Thank y'all for watching. And remember, no Fumar in the elevator. Night, everybody.